Thanks. Good point. Okay. So, yeah, so no firearms of any kind, real ones, toy guns, even, the Nerf guns and things like that. Those are going to not be allowed. And if anyone chooses to refuse to comply with the rule, we'll have to ask them to leave. So we're just trying to communicate this as much as we can because we don't want anyone to leave or be upset or what have you. So, but kind of back to the show and what your booth includes. It is a 10 by 10 booth space. You get a table that's skirted and topped, 2 chairs, each electricity is also included, and then up to 4 booth reps. If you got 2 booths, you would get 8 booth reps, and then you can purchase additional booth reps. We're not limiting them this year. And so that's back available in case you guys wanted to bring, someone else. Another rule that is worth mentioning really quickly is we aren't allowing any, or if you guys have been to the show before, you know that we do the premier sponsor handout, and so that is exclusive to them. So we don't want to confuse attendees with different games and things like that. We want to leave that exclusive to the premier sponsors. So we're just not allowing any like visit multiple booths to win a certain thing or whatever. You can most certainly at your own booth do a prize giveaway for, however you want to do that. And do also remember, if you want to present your prize live, we do have that option. When you check in with us, we'll ask you what your prize is. And if you want to present it live, then towards the end of the night, we have everyone gather at the stage and we hand those prizes out. It's really a lot of fun, and people really do hang around for that. So that is something worth mentioning. Really quickly, the attendees we do have on an average good year, upwards to 800 attendees. We're usually actually, let's see, the day of, which we do restrict sales, the week prior, but we do normally have like 600 pre-sold tickets, and then there is a good chunk. It's hard to monitor how many are bought at the door, but there is a good another, 100, 200 there. So we're hoping for the same turnout this year. And then another rule kind of worth mentioning, we do have name badges. That's what's going to get you in and out the door. So if you guys could keep those on the whole time, that's it makes it much easier for you and for us with keeping up with who's in the show, who's already, checked in and things like that. So that's all that I have. We're pretty much going to go through here now, and we're going to do some greetings and introductions to your panel members with our cool little cowboy here. Okay, so we'll kind of break up into different topics, and each panel member will cover a different topic. But we do have Danny Pusinato with House of Floors here. We have Shelly with a partner. We have Danielle with Valet Living, and then also Samantha is a community member, and she's with JMG Realty. So starting us off is the pre-show. So if you want to take it away and let us know what you think are the best practices and would like to share for the pre-show.
Hey, everyone. I can't see who all is on the call today, but just really quickly to introduce myself. Again, Taylor said, I'm Shelly Dana. I'm with a partner. We're a staffing company, and we've been in the industry for a number of years. Participating in the trade show is always something that I find a huge value in, whether it's connecting with current clients and potentially making connections with new clients. It's always well worth the time and effort spent and put into the event. For booth registration, before pre-show best practices, obviously one of the most important things is getting your booth registration in, and really visiting the whichever association it is. FCAA is great about getting out the information, and the website's always a great resource to really look at where the booths are located. You can see who's registered so far. You can add your logo in there and get your booth registered well in advance of the show, depending upon what sponsorship level you're currently at. If you've attended previous years, that gives you some priority over other attendee or other suppliers. But booth registration, super important. Get out there, look at it as early as you possibly can. And of course, most of us have probably already done that. And if you haven't, obviously there's still room, as Lindsay said, even though it's next week, it's not too late. Event sponsorships next. You can go ahead and look at the event sponsorships as soon as you are registering for your booth, and kind of evaluate what's going to be the most bang for your buck. Is it something that is going to be at the event itself or pre-event? There are some sponsorships that you can go ahead and get some exposure and get your name and branding out there, like the Candy Bag Blitz. So that leads me into my next point, which is event volunteer work. I know that Danny last week did some volunteer work at the association by going ahead and being there, stuffing the Candy Bag Blitz bags to get them ready and out there. And of course, that gave him some exposure. FCAA put his name out there, got a cute little video of him, riding the horse and wearing his cowboy hat and all that good stuff. Event volunteer work, not only prior to the event is important, but there's also typically some volunteer work you can do maybe the day of the event once your booth is set up. So Taylor, Lindsay, those are both excellent resources to reach out to and figure out how you can play a part and basically get yourself familiar with this particular association prior to the event. Booth planning. Taylor pointed out a few different key elements to the booth as far as the size. It's a 10 by 10. Obviously, there are chairs that are included. Typically, some important things to think about is how you're going to set up your booth. Do you need one table, more than one table? Are you going to need extra chairs? How many reps do you have at your booth? Tablecloths, are you going to be happy with what's provided? Do you need something extra? So booth planning is super important. All of the associations typically pick a theme, and that's one of the things to consider. Are you new to a market? Are you new to the association? Do you want to go with a theme, or do you want to really brand and make sure that you're giving your brand exposure that first initial pop at the whichever show it might be you're first attending? But typically, just a little pointer, the attendees love a themed booth, right? So typically that means a game or something fun. It draws them in. So depending upon what your priority is, whether it's brand recognition, exposure, or just going ahead and having fun and attracting the attendees, that's something to consider. Going back to booth registration, one of the things that I didn't talk about, if you are a returning supplier, one of the things that I always consider is, do I want to change up my location? Was I happy with the location from the previous year? What about it did I like? What about it maybe that I didn't like? I'm a smaller business. And so typically what I've done since I've been participating in this particular show is I always pick the same booth, because if nothing else, people know where to find me. They always know that I'm, down the second aisle. And so that's something to consider. As far as the booth planning, prior to the show, obviously, if you're going with a theme, you want to consider, are you going to be, how many reps? Are you going to be in some sort of, branded shirt, or again, maybe in some kind of costume that goes along with the theme? Typically, what that leads into for me is a trade show checklist. And that's just trying to make sure that I understand everything that I need the day of the show. And I typically try to think about it from top to bottom, as my banner in the backdrop. Am I going to top it with some balloons? Do I need the holder for the backdrop? And then kind of work my way out from the booth as far as tablecloths, chairs, things of that nature. But one thing that's really important to also remember is some of the smaller items. I don't know how many times last week when I was at a trade show, I heard, do you have tape? Does anyone have scissors? And it's all those little things that you'd be amazed at how many of us tend to forget them, right? So I loaned out my scissors to several different, booths, and was happy I had them. But so a trade show checklist might sound a little silly, but in reality, it can be a lifesaver the day of, especially if you're just trying to finish up your booth real quick. Social media hype, the association does a great job with it. Prior to, they're typically, you're going to see emails going out, Facebook posts, Instagram posts. So they're really good at doing that. And it's important to play off that as well. Whether it's, creating your own little video and giving a teaser of what might be at your booth. Like I know one year it was a throwback trade show and I had on some crazy shoes that basically gave a little bit of a teaser as to what I was going to be dressed up like. So I just posted a picture of my feet, wearing those shoes, and basically was asking who was going to be there the next night. So that's kind of fun to do, but hype it up the best you can. And just have fun with it. So put some teasers out there on social media, make sure they know where your booth's located and that you're going to be there, and try and get some engagement for maybe, again, some current clients, and let people know that you're going to be there. So that's about it for pre-show. So I think it is important best practices.
Thank you so much, Shelley. That was great. Just remember, if you guys had any questions, go ahead and write those down and we'll save those for Shelley up in here. And then of course, if anybody else has any other input. So we're going to move on to Danny with House of Floors. He's going to kind of chat with us about best practices for during the show.
Hi, Danny with House of Floors. I've been doing the trade show. I've been in it for 24 years now, but probably doing the trade show for 15 to 17 years. During trade show best practices, first one I'm going to start off with, don't drink a lot. Have a few beers, but don't get hammered out there. It's easy to do it, especially being a newcomer and a first timer, I guess. And if you're younger, getting older, I don't drink as much anymore, so I don't worry about that as much. But I would buy extra drink tickets, because everybody that's coming around, if you got extra drink tickets for them, it's a good way to talk to people. They love to have drink tickets to be able to get free beers or wine or whatever is being sold. Yeah, I would just kind of stay with that. Minimize your drinking for sure. Your merchandise, I wouldn't put it out, especially even at setup. Like, keep a lot of it under the table, because you don't know who's going to go around and snatch your stuff. It's not malicious by any means. I think it's more in fun, or just people want some of the till that. And then even when you're there, I would keep a lot underneath the table, because you just get people walking stuff off the table. Their bags, which I get it, but if you pay a lot of money for your merchandise, I wouldn't leave it all out there at once. That's just word to the wise. Especially like we do good. I think I make a good we do little tchotchke things like pens and things like that, but we like to do one good giveaway. We do t-shirts. So you spend a lot of money on the merchandise. And you don't want it just going to the wayside for somebody's bag. So yeah, I try to make one good memorable giveaway for everybody that comes through. It definitely sticks. I have people that have been coming to me that don't even use me sometimes. They want a t-shirt every year, and they've been doing it for 17 years, getting the same t-shirt. They expect their t-shirt at that. When I didn't give t-shirts away one year, and a lot of people were a little upset with me. So and that goes to making sure that somebody's always in your booth. Like if you want to go have a drink or get something to eat, or you're standing there for a few hours, make sure you always have one of your reps or some stuff, and just to be able to engage with the people coming through, and have a good time. We're there to have fun. It is business, but I always have a good time just talking to people that I haven't talked to or seen in a long time. I think we're all there to have a good time. People are just coming off of work. People are tired and they don't want a drab scene to come into. So just be engaging and have fun with it. It's kind of all I got for that.
Good stuff. All right, so we're going to move on to after the show, post-show best practices, and Danielle is going to cover that for us.
Thank you. And so one thing that I think that was we missed a little bit during the show is you want to make sure that you also have some sort of like raffle prize or prize giveaway. Some of you guys
Sorry,
might,
good point.
if you might have a smaller budget, like you don't have to spend a ton of money. I mean, sure, people love the big ticket items, but quite frankly, everybody's so used to, like, if you have a container out in front of your booth, like to a giveaway, they're just used to dropping the card in there. And so don't go overboard if your budget doesn't allow for it, but just make sure that you do have something to collect all the cards from. One of the things that I do that's very helpful is I will either, I'll take the card if I'm talking to somebody and they're asking about a specific service or a quote or whatever, I'll take the card and write a note on the back of it, like wants a proposal, call her on this day, whatever, and then I'll drop it in my bucket as well, but I'll make sure that I write the notes while I'm doing it. The last show, I didn't have a chance to do that and I was trying to keep notes on my cell phone. And the problem with that is then you're constantly saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not texting, I'm making notes. And it takes away from the conversation some. So I would just have a pen handy and just write all the notes on the back of your cards, throw them in the bucket for your follow-up. And so the one thing is that, you want to follow up as quick as possible. So any of them that have your notes on the back of them, you want to call the next day. And keep in mind, we have 108 booths. Everybody that dropped a card in, I would say of those 108, probably a good 50% are calling them that Friday or Monday or emailing them. So you want to try to find a way that's going to stick out. People still get away with like, I'm just going to send out a bulk email and call that follow-up if you're a rookie. So don't be that rookie. I would pick up the phone and call if you have a reason to talk to them. The handwritten note, a lot of people don't do that anymore. So maybe even like send them a note and then follow up with a visit. But do something that's going to make you stand out, but also keep in mind that those first kind of like the Friday after the Monday and probably the Tuesday is when they're going to be inundated with all of us vendors that just got these leads. And so when you do follow up, you want to make sure that you either have a very specific reason for your visit or you're finding a unique way. Like I said, I write a lot of the ones that I had a personal conversation with. I'll write a handwritten note to them and drop it in the mail and then go later on in the week when I know people aren't going to be there.
Yeah, good point about the during the trade show about because I keep a box on my cards and so.
I also want to make a note to that. We do encourage attendees to bring their business cards, but I mean, let's be real, who remembers or even maybe doesn't even have a business card. So I would also just suggest like Danielle was saying, like having a pen and probably like a notebook handy or some type of like maybe even fill out business card because they want to enter your giveaway. And if they don't have a business card, you want to give them the opportunity to still collect their contact information and enter the giveaway. So I would just say definitely that's a thing I would have like a pre-filled, like put your name and contact on this card, or just have some paper to be able to rip and have them write it down, throw it in there. So
I always keep sticky notes.
Yeah, sticky notes. That's great. That's actually
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So now we're going to hear from Samantha. She's just going to give us, she is a community member, so she's attendee of the show. And so it's going to be great to hear some input from her. If you want to go ahead and take it away, Samantha.
Thank you. So I have been attending the trade show for, I want to say, over 10 years now. And as a community manager, I think the importance of attending this show is building new client relationships, of course, and just basically getting something better than Google. I mean, you have hundreds of people there that you can communicate with that, are going to be a service to you. And, we're always looking for different services in the apartment industry. We always need that new housekeeper or painter, so I just advise everyone to, kind of pay attention when you're going through and make sure that you're going to people that you're going to use. Because like what Danny and Danielle said, or Shelly said, the vendors do spend a lot of money on their items that they have. And, not that we want to waste people's time or money, but let's not, it's okay to communicate and have a good time with people, but let's not just go grab people's, the vendors' stuff just to grab, let's, be respectful. They spend a lot of money, took a lot of time. And, if you really need them and it's something you're interested in, then I say, yeah, go over to the booth, communicate. It's great for just the networking relationships. But, I think also be respectful to the vendors of the money that they've spent and, all the time and effort that they've put in. So, I think as a community manager, business cards are super important. I bring a stack bigger, I can't even fit in my purse. But just like you said, because people do want to win things. So yeah, throw that card if you have it in the little bucket or whatever they have and enjoy yourself and play games. But I just think as being a member of FCAA, you should be able to take advantage of the benefits that they offer as being a member and just take advantage of the networking and creating good client relationships and take advantage of the diverse services that are there that you don't even know of. I mean, there's so many different services that a lot of the time you don't even know that they exist. There's been plenty of times that I've gone and I've been like, wow, I don't even know what this is, but I want to use it at my property. So like, just, be on the lookout, really pay attention to the different booths. And I say, have a good time like everyone else. And I look forward to it every year. So if you have any questions on the community manager side, I'm open for any answers. You're on mute, Taylor.
I think you're muted.
I am, sorry, that was wonderful. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and unmute your mic and we can chat, even if it's not necessarily a question, but you just want to say something. We are ready to hear it. Okay. All right, so we did a great job. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see Melissa Feliciano's on the call. I know she's a seasoned industry professional. She's been in the industry on both sides of things. I'm not familiar with David or Malcolm, so I'd be curious to see who else is on the call and if they want to introduce themselves and let us know if this will be their first time attending, because I'd be happy to go and say hi when they get there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm Malcolm Meeks. I'm new. Well, back when I worked in Mood Media, I used to sometimes come to the events, but now I've got MJM Music. We do the music for businesses, fully licensed, edit for content and whatnot, also sound systems. So yeah, this will be my first one.
Great.
Hey, Malcolm.
Welcome.
I think David is trying to say something, perhaps. I'm not sure. I think David is with PDM, and as PDM has been to the show, but I'm not so sure that David has.
Okay.
Oh, his microphone's not working, but he said this has been very helpful. So that's awesome.
Great.
Okay, so that is what we have for you guys today. We did record this. Hopefully got most of it there at the beginning. So we will send this to the people who registered and weren't able to make it. And then if anybody, any of you guys have reps or what have you that are newer or haven't know any friends that are newer, we can get this over to them as well. So thank you guys for being here today, and we'll see you on June 16th.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.